Okay, we're back. And unfortunately, I couldn't broadcast Saturday. I know most of you guys knew my internet was out. It's this new Colbridge Communications, and I was talking actually with this other woman. She's been here a long time, and she said that was the first time the internet's been out for so long. For 8 years, it never went down for more than 2 days at a time. So unfortunately, all that's fixed. We're back up on the air. I really missed doing Saturday's show because I did have stuff planned. Sennheisers. Oh my gosh. I love talking about audio stuff. Okay, now, of course, I've been talking a little bit about, I recently got some RAM. I did an unboxing during the pre-show, which is, I'm going to be putting 24 gigs of memory in the Mac Pro. And I figure we could kind of, throw that in there as a topic for today's show. And this was actually twittered by Alpha01, one of my longtime viewers. And he puts in there a question, why so much memory? And that's a good question because, right now I have the 2009 Mac Pro model. I think it's 2.26 gigahertz, something like that. And the base RAM is about 6 gigs. For a while, most of the time I think it's okay for the amount of RAM, but there's been quite a few times where 6 gigs is not enough. One time, of course, I just showed you my my intro video. I was actually had to load an hour 480p pre-recorded show so I could take clips off it for my intro, and oh my gosh, I loaded it up in the memory and my Mac Pro almost choked on it because I didn't have enough RAM for it. So I'm getting more into audio or video and audio editing and things like that. And so plus I'm going to be running a virtual machine in Linux as well. I like to just actually keep the Linux virtual machine up most of the time as I'm doing other things. And thinking back on it, more into what Alpha01 said, why so much memory, come to think of it, 24 gigs probably is a little bit too much. I probably should have kept it at around 16. Even if I doubled the RAM to about 12 gigs, I kind of doubt if that'd really be enough for my use, considering I might actually, when I'm editing video, I might actually have to bring up a couple of pre-recorded shows, which could be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half. And of course, I'm going to need a lot of RAM for that. So I kind of also went with the thing where it says, put in as much RAM as you can afford as far as budget-wise, and I kind of went that route as well. So I looked at the different prices and how much I thought I wanted. I knew I wanted more than 12 because, at least 6 for video editing, if not more, virtual machine and running multiple programs at once. So I think I figured about 24, which it came out to around, I think I spent $400, I think, on the RAM. I decided to go with the kind of like an Apple certified ECC memory, thermal sensors that's compatible 100% with the Mac. Yeah, I probably should have went maybe 16 gigs, but I guess a little bit more memory than you think you use is okay as well. And Samtech answers like, holy moly. So I don't know, I'll stick with the 24 gigs, Vice 16, but then again, you got to think if I'm running my virtual machine Linux, I'm going to probably run it with about 8 gigs, and then that'll leave me 16 gigs for everything else. So, and there was a few other RAM related topics. Now I do know the Mac Pros, because PCs as well, there's other things related. It runs triple channel memory, where it does have on the dual CPUs, it does have 8 slots, and normally there, you know, for the best speed wise, usually run it in triple memory, which means three slots will be filled on one side and three on the other, and then you're going to get the full 1066 megahertz speed. Now, if you try to use all 8 RAM slots, the speed will actually go down to 800. I kind of want to keep it in triple memory slots, but not actually a whole lot of programs will actually use the full amount of RAM speed anyway, but I figure I'll just go ahead and keep it anyway just for whatever reason. And let me see what else we got in here. I'm missing a little bit of what's going on in chat. And I guess we got 3 W3B Guru says 812K. And how much, I'll tell you what, how much, guys, memory are you using? Do you guys do video editing or other things where you might have to use more than the RAM that you think you would? Or so throw some numbers out there and we'll see what you have. You need RAM or the speed. Yeah, that's true, Biggie. I think if you're really big, use it for work, like, you know, wedding videos and other things, then RAM might be more of an issue for you. Then yes, you'd probably want to use all 4 slots, depending PC or whatever. Okay, now you can use 8 gigabytes in your MacBook Pro. I'm still using the default 4 gigs on the MacBook. I doubt if I'll ever need more than that. Can go up to 8, but not really gonna do video editing, or as far as I know. Oh, okay, so you do use, wow, 48. You're higher than me there, Prime Minister. And well, on your workstation you're using 8. So now I do have my gateway in the bedroom, which is a Linux machine, and when I bought it, it happened to be maxed out at 8 gigabytes of RAM. I didn't put any in there. It just came with 8 because it was supposed to be a multimedia computer. So, but it is maxed out on RAM. I can't put it in anymore. So, and I guess Carlo showing 4 gigabytes is enough for you, and I think 4 is about that's the standard right now. I think for most, you know, desktops. Not saying more that might be needed depending on what you're doing, of course. And I guess W3B Guru says that as well. 3 gigs or more. 9 gigabytes, wow. And I don't know, well, they're if you're talking about me, more times on my hands, you believe it or not, I really got to squeeze things in there. And a lot of things I don't have a chance to get done because I got to squeeze in my show twice a week and other things, family life. And I'm just seeing what everybody else put for their RAM. Okay, you got 48 in a server as a data center. And, well, if it's for business or your company, then that's understandable. And yes, I'm going to use mine for virtualization as well, so that's why more RAM. Yeah, I think now where RAM's a lot cheaper, then we can afford to put in more. You need more than 3 gigabytes. Now it depends on the size. How large are you importing into? You know, you're talking about an hour's worth. Is it just, you know, if it's just a short YouTube 15-minute video or less, then yeah, even 4 gigabytes should be enough. But since I'm dealing with occasionally, there's a few shows I put on YouTube that are about an hour and a half almost, an hour. Sometimes it's less. It might be 20 minutes or less. Okay, let me go ahead and get on with the rest of the show because I am going to put this on YouTube as well. And now this is kind of has to do with, I know this is brought up in the forums. This is a Apple Mac related thing, but there's a few people complaining, you know, when they get a Mac Pro, or people just notice this, that they don't put a lot of RAM, you know, on the base machine that they sell. And you know, I've thought about that myself. A lot of people think perhaps they do it because they're cheaping out. You know, they didn't want to put a lot of memory because, you know, that's more money. But when I thought about it, you know, I think the reason they put in a smaller amount of RAM because each person, you know, they're going to vary a lot on the amount of RAM because usually a Mac Pro is kind of more commercial use than really personal or private unless you actually use it for, you know, your own job, stay-at-home job type of thing. So, you know, if you, let's say you fill up all the memory slots, you only have like 24 and you find out you need more or, you know, so then, yeah, then you got to either resell it or, you know, or just keep it as backup or whatever, and then, you know, buy more RAM. So I think that's why they tend to put in the, you know, a minimal amount, even though each year they kind of increase it. I know at one time they only had about, some of the Mac Pro base models, I think was 2 gigs. Now, over time, they increased it to about 6. And who knows, in a couple years' time, they may increase it to 8. I don't know. But it's usually cheaper if you buy RAM through a third party as well. Because they tend to jack up the prices if you do it through their, you know, pre-installed type of thing. So, you know, I figured that'd be kind of an interesting topic. Because I noticed that a lot in the Mac forums. And I'm not, you know, like I said, if you're doing a third party, then yeah, they do seem to jack up the price more than, because you know they're going to have to make money off of getting more RAM, I guess. But yeah, I think, well, it's not just Apple, but other, you know, other manufacturers. I think it would be cheaper through third party upgrades. So not specifically Apple or Mac or whatever, but. And let me see what else we got. Okay, my last few shows I've been talking about it. I have been using Mint Linux. I liked it per se. There's been a few problems here and there. And one turns out not to be really a problem with Mint Linux. It's a Flash problem, which I pretty much thought it might be. I wasn't 100% sure. I kind of decided to go back to Ubuntu 10.10, which I pretty much switched over when my internet was down, so I installed it on both machines, both on the Mac Pro as a virtual machine and on my main box in the bedroom. Before with Mint Linux, I've been getting running the web browser. It used to like about every couple minutes it would lock up for like 5 seconds, even the mouse, and then, you know, it'd start back up again and do the same thing. Now that I got Ubuntu 10.10, it's doing the same thing, but not as often. So it looks like it's a Flash problem. And I'm going to have to upgrade the Flash. And that's going to be one of my next topics, Flash. So, but I don't know. I'm kind of an Ubuntu person. I mean, Mint Linux is nice. They do use a lot of features that the Ubuntu doesn't. But I'm more of I guess, a stock Ubuntu person. So... And now this came up at the last minute because I seen it either today or yesterday, which is Flash. And somebody put that in the chat room during the pre-show as well. Flash is finally, this is the final release, 10.2, which is on all 3 operating systems, Mac, Linux, and Windows. And which is nice because this all uses hardware acceleration, which is, I'm actually looking at the news feed because I didn't write it down at the last minute, so... which is they use something that's called Stage Video, I guess, hardware acceleration. Now, has anybody used it, the final release yet? I don't have it in any of my computers yet, and supposedly, you know, it's supposed to lower if you're watching video. It'll use the GPU acceleration vice, you know, the CPU acceleration or the software. So I don't know if anybody used the. Yeah, I think that's one of the big problems. Not available for 64-bit, so that's a big downer. You know, okay, I didn't even check that yet because I think it just came out like a couple days ago. So yeah, 64. Well, I don't think they're really building much 32-bit processors except for netbooks or some, smaller devices. And yeah, I think it is as well. So it looks like nobody's going to be updating. Okay, I'm glad you threw that in there, Wizard72. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. I think the news feed, I just seen that yesterday and I didn't have time to really research it. So I think it's good to talk about it and you guys threw it in. So you guys rock. The viewers, of course. And there's a couple of things on here. It says supposedly, if you're using the 32-bit, I guess, it says it can effortlessly play 1080p HD video with just 1 to 15% CPU usage. Okay, this is on Mac or Windows. It doesn't specify Linux, but I'm just reading a little bit more into the what it says. I don't know. I haven't been seeing quite those numbers. Even with the better version, it was a little bit higher than that. I was getting about 10% higher. I don't know. A little bit higher than that. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, I must have missed that as well. You got to have NVIDIA GPU. Yeah. Now I try to use NVIDIA chipsets for graphics on all my Linux computers because they're just better supported with drivers. And then with 32-bit, you have to use the I think it's ND wrapper or something like that to use the driver in 64-bit version of Linux, I believe. Which probably, I don't know if that slows it down. So, I don't know. I tell you what, Adobe really needs to up their game because they're really behind on the acceleration. This should have been done years ago. I mean, well, that's, I understand they have their own programs that they do and everything like that, but if they want to use their codexes for the web standard, they need to up their game, quite a bit. So, and this kind of goes into my next topic, which is Google Chrome 9, because now they're getting away from the H.264 standard. And now I think supposedly, don't they still, with the new Google Chrome 9, they still support Flash, I believe, still. Which I thought it was kind of weird. They're going for more open standard, yet they want to use Flash, still support Flash. But I can understand it because, Flash is still out there. Well, supposedly predominantly, but the newer standards, it's catching up pretty quick now. So, and okay, W3B Guru also says that driver wrapper isn't a good thing. Yeah, I agree, but that appears to be the only way to get it to work. And obviously, either you're going to do with it or do without. It's probably better to have at least working. Won't be faster and less stable too. I agree. Yeah. And it's Adobe. And of course Linux, usually it's Windows first, Mac, and then, Linux, it's kind of an afterthought. Here you go. It barely works, but there you go, Linux. But I can understand because, all the other ones are paid and they make more money than Linux. But I don't know. At least they're doing it for Linux, I guess. So, who owns the license? Who licenses? I don't know. I can't remember the actual entity that does the H.264. But supposedly, whoever uses it, as far as maybe the developers, they got to pay a royalty or something like that. So I guess that's why Google Chrome is going to an open standard, which is, I believe, WebM or something like that. Okay, everybody should be able to see the links in there. So, and now this new Google Chrome 9 supposedly has WebGL hardware accelerated 3D graphics. Now, when I use Google Chrome 9 in Linux, it didn't even come with Flash, because normally, you know, Flash is integrated inside Google Chrome now. I don't know if they actually got rid of Flash in Google Chrome 9. I don't know if anybody knows that or not. Now, I know if you open up the Google Chrome browser and you already have Flash installed, it will actually use, by default, the Flash inside of the Google Chrome 9. There's a way you can actually prevent that from happening. You got to go into the plugins. You can... I forgot how to do it. I tried to look it up again, but it's in one of my news feeds somewhere. But I don't know anybody on Mac or Windows if they got their Flash to work. It didn't work in Linux, so I actually had to install Flash, and then the Google Chrome 9 actually worked. But then there are Prince Izul, I guess that's what your name is, and you're here for the Tech Show. We're going through a lot of the information, and actually been doing it since about 8 p.m. Central Time, and that's some on the Google Chrome 9. It had to do with hardware acceleration and Flash and other things. And Mark Shuttlesworth, oh really? And now is Mark Shuttle? Now I don't know the whole deal. Conical, I think that's a company behind Ubuntu. I supposedly, I guess it's Mark Shuttlesworth, the CEO, or and perhaps he didn't renew the license, so they just didn't include it, or who knows what. And that was some of the stuff on the Google Chrome 9. And oh, wait a minute. I think I forgot a bunch of stuff in here. Oh, I could probably do that very last. And now, this is going to... let me see if I can bring it up in the news feeds as well, in case I missed something. But because this, I think this is going to affect other, you know, computers and other, you know, throughout the web. Okay, I don't see it in there. I think I got enough written down in here. Now, this was a news article I seen earlier, I think it was last week. Apple to eliminate retail box software inventory. And they're pretty much going to go, it looks like, with the Mac App Store. Now, I am not saying, perhaps this is a rumor. I know eventually this is probably going to go more mainstream. And it's not necessarily an Apple thing. I think we're starting to see it with other, you know, PCs and even Linux. You know, they got their, what do they call it, the Ubuntu One Store and things like that. And we're having, you know, seeing a tendency of more software downloads via CD-ROM or boxed software. It can be both good and bad, depending on how you look at it. I admit I'm more preferential for DVDs and CD-ROMs. Yeah, I admit. I'm usually slowest to adopt anything, it seems, but yeah, I think that's what we're seeing now, because supposedly, you know, of course, Apple was the first one to get rid of floppy drives, and then, well, of course, it eventually happened anyway. And I guess they had USB 2 for, you know, or, you know, they included all CD-ROMs and, you know, USB sticks or whatever. And I'm trying to think what. Okay, supposedly, I've been hearing rumors of Apple and Mac's going to be getting rid of, you know, the DVD CD-ROM drives. So that rumor's been out for quite a while, and it's possible. I mean, depending on, I think the biggest thing, you know, really is going to be internet access. Are the service providers going to be able to guarantee fast downloads for the, you know, this to happen? Because, you know, and it seems like America's usually, the USA is probably one of the worst, well, not the worst, but we're probably like midway for access speeds compared to, you know, other parts of the world. I think we're listed like 13th or or something like that. It might have even actually went down since then. Oh, really? Yeah, I don't really know the history of Apple prior to about 2.5 to 2 years ago. That's when I first started getting big into Apple and Mac as well. And I think I barely remember something about Zip Drive in the Apple. Now, I don't know if it was their own version of Zip, but now probably what they're doing, even if they get rid of, let's say, CD-ROMs, DVDs, and Macs, well, usually they're the ones the first that seem to do this. They will probably make a USB 2 option where, you can supposedly support, your older software that's only available CD or DVD. And just look at Steam. Steam's a whole gaming system that uses downloads on the most part. And before I was kind of against it because what if your internet goes down? I mean, are you going to still be able to play your games? And the most part, yes, with the exception of one game, which is the one that I mentioned earlier. I can't even remember the name of it again, but you actually got to have internet access. I guess it's got to update it through the internet and their servers. And yeah, that's true. They don't have the CD, DVD, ROM drive on the MacBook Air, but that's understandable because was designed as a very portable, lightweight. So I could see why they definitely got rid of it and went USB stick. Actually, it's a backup stick, and I've got one here somewhere. Where is that thing? Oh well, I think I showed it on air one time, but it comes out with it's even more dinkier than a normal USB 2 stick is. But that's how you can back up, reinstall your software. It comes on a USB stick for the MacBook Air. Hologram drives, oh my gosh. Well, supposedly I've heard of using crystal. I'm trying to think. Quartz crystal as a storage medium. Supposedly has more storage than theoretically mechanical drives or a flash drive or anything else. I don't know. That was really futuristic concept, I guess. That's what's since W3B Guru mentioned that. So supposedly I heard some quartz crystal is able some storage medium thing, but the 50s sci-fi music. Yeah, actually, yeah, you can install. I've done that before. That's how I got it on my Acer. Here, which is right here. This is my Acer Ubuntu netbook versions on there. I had to use a USB only because it doesn't have a CD-ROM or DVD-ROM drive. So, oops. Yeah, there we go. We're back. And so I figured that was interesting. So it looks like they're actually going toward the Mac App Store faster than some people realize, even myself. So, and how soon in the future, I'm not sure. But that's coming up. And it's probably not going to go just to Apple. It's going to go to other, PCs and other, I'm thinking, too, as well. And, I want to do a quick pros and cons with that as well. What's the pros and cons for downloads versus CD, DVD drives? So, some of the pros with the downloading store version, often you can get it cheaper because you don't have to worry about packaging, mailing, and things like that. So that saves money. You can often get the software cheaper. Often you can buy individual, like the Apple Store, like iLife. Now you can buy individual products. Like some people are never going to use iWeb, which is used to make websites. It's very simplistic anyway. You can just buy iMovie for like $15. So you can often save on buying individual software instead of the whole package. Some of the cons, you're going to use bandwidth. You got to have the bandwidth support it. constant large downloads. How about backups? If you totally lose it, can you back it up on another medium? Or you got to re-download everything? More time, more. Some people have a data service plan where they're charged by the amount of data they actually use. Vice Unlimited, so. And those are some of the pros and cons I figure I put in there as well. And now I am going to go to, yeah, you should be able to back it up. Oh, I meant to add this earlier. Like iTunes, you can actually back up your iTunes to CD-ROM or DVD, which I do, instead of downloading. Now, I do have the backup CD-ROMs for a lot of my music. Not everything. Some I just buy through the iTunes store. 1,000 gig discs come out. Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? They're going to have Tetra gigabytes, or who knows what else. I don't know what the biggest, after tetrabyte, Googa bytes, or whatever it is. 6 days to burn, oh my gosh. And, okay, I have implemented some GUI changes for the show, and it's kind of interesting how it went about, because, you know, I do have 2 cameras, so sometimes I do use the 2 camera shots, and for guests, occasionally I have Skyped in. And Wirecast also implements picture-in-picture, and let me see if I can bring up some of the older picture-in-picture to give you an example. And let me show you the Wirecast version, which is right here. And as you can see, the boxes are kind of small. I feel kind of boxed in. Look, I'm claustrophobic, you know, and so I wanted something with bigger boxes. And I'll show you another view too. Now, this is the one that comes with Wirecast picture-in-picture. And here's one of my older ones right here. And, well, I can actually fix it where it's larger. And so what I did now, and here's what the new one looks like. I'm going to start implementing for for the future shows. And now here's a guest shot. You know, now B is where the guest is going to go, Skype, video. And as you can see, I got a lot more room. Look, oh my gosh, I can actually breathe. I wanted to implement bigger boxes. And, of course, it's really a temp overlay. It's the basic screen with 2 squares cut out, and I actually implement the video as the background and the picture-in-picture as the foreground. And it's easier to size different resolutions that way, like a 4:3 widescreen. It's easier to do it. And now I kind of cheated, I admit. I went to what is that? Steve Haywood's The Tech Buzz. You can actually download them as Photoshop.psd files, and he's actually got like 3 different templates. I want to do it his way because I've never done it. I'm kind of new to Photoshop, and let me show you another view I'm using. And here's the newer version of the picture-in-picture, as well, using the same 2 camera shot. And I kind of actually sent him an email. I kind of thanked him for putting all that information up there. Steve Haywood, I was kind of conversing with him on it. And this is the Shure mic, I think. There, Biggie. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, yeah, I got the audio up. Sometimes I forget to put the global audio on the new shots, and you guys don't hear the audio. Occasionally I do it. And I never use Photoshop, so I haven't done all that yet. So I downloaded his template, used his tutorials, which is kind of cool because I never used Photoshop. Well, it's Photoshop Elements, so it got me used to using their file format. And I had to make a few changes because the Elements is different from the Photoshop. Oops, did I say Photoshop? Yeah, from the regular Photoshop. He's got the full version. I got the Elements. There was some differentials. Oh, it had different audio? Oops. Here, let me check that out real quick. Hello. That should be the same. Hello? Hello? Oops, was that the one or was this one? Hello. Hello. Oops. It is, ain't it? Wow. Okay, we'll just go back to that shot. Yeah, the audio probably does need to be adjusted a little bit. Yeah, the mic is weird. Here, if you want to hear weird, test this out. Here we go. Oops, I can't play with that. We're going to get feedback, unfortunately. So I've been, trying different things occasionally. It takes me a while to implement new changes. I'm not for the one to do 10,000 changes in 2 weeks. That's not how I work. Implement changes slowly, and when I have time to do all that. So that's new and exciting. I also talked with, like I said, Steve Haywood from the Tech Buzz, and he also said, he said new things are coming out for you guys that are using the Nano controller with Wirecast, which is right here. The guy that actually makes the scripts for this, he's working with that guy. I can't remember his name. He's going to come out with some new Apple scripts for the Nano controller. Okay, of course, this uses push buttons to control your shots, intro and outro, and many other things. And supposedly they're going to come out with some new Apple scripts for that. Who knows what else Steve has planned for the future. And oh my gosh, I think I ran out of news. Well,